Hello. Welcome again, my U-turn ladies. Today I'm excited that we be discussing the topic of religion and whether it is empowering or disempowering to our youth in the context of South Sudanese and in particular. So I just don't know. I've seen a lot of our people really investing in church, and it's not just only our people, even here in West. The hope industry, which is really the primary industry where the church operates and religion in general, is really a big industry, and many people spend time and resources uh, you know, to really, in expectation that they'll be favored by God, or I don't know. What are your thoughts? Is it really empowering or disempowering? How people are taken to the next level? Think about it in terms of how people invest in new clothes every time there is material, every time there's dances, every time like people travel to go and spread to gospel like thing of use mama traveling to different regions evangelizing people. So yes, what are your thoughts? Is it really taking a lot of time, or is it improving people? Could that time be used better? In short, I'll start with you, Lucky.
Um, I would say it really depends on personal reasons for going to church and spending resources and time. At the same time, there's, good and bad. If a person is going to church or spending resource on church is their career and it's paying them back somehow, maybe it's not so bad. But if it's solely for, going to heaven and while you're still human, you have responsibilities and you have to take care of your family and yourself, then spending all the time in the church, in my opinion, will not be the best use of resources. Um, on the other hand, people who are making a career out of it. So in our community, the pastor, the bishop, only a few people are getting paid to do the work of the Lord, while the rest of the church organizers are going there to spend money and not get anything out of it. I think there could be a better way to organize church to reward everyone that is going there, not just waiting for heavenly reward, but also making their life a bit better, on earth before they move on. Um, in terms of spirituality and believe in God, I will not comment on that. It's an individual relationship with God. I have my own relationship with God, and we have our own agreement on how often I should go to the church or how much commitment I should make, and it works out just fine. So that's my perspective. I will pass it to a chill.
Yeah, I need to take it away.
I honestly don't know what to say, but I think I would go with the lucky. It depends with what you want to gain at the end of the day. So, but when it comes to women part, I believe it could be empowering, and it could also not be empowering. For instance, I feel like church is the avenue where women feel safe to practice their leadership skills. So in that, and it's the safe space whereby they go to and they feel safe and they are more connected with someone they believe it's there for their needs. So in that, I would say it could be organized to be empowering, and the downfall of it is that a lot of time people spend resources, especially the the people down in the hierarchy at church, like for example, Koil or Bikla, and especially women, they are more devoted and they spend most of their time at church instead of just balancing life, doing other thing outside church and while still go to church. And I believe too. they are being exploited in a way because, for example, on Kakuma and Archbishop Jabena, uh, it's always the women that are spending most of their time at church. It's the women that go there because like you. It's always the women that go there to cook for the bishops and for all these other visitors that will come with the bishop. And it's always the women that are leaving their children at home and going to church and stay there. So if in a way, I do believe that they just can find a balance. They have to find a balance, and it would be empowering because at least that's where they go. Law leadership skills, local way practice, of which we don't get as women in our communities. We normally don't get the chances, but at church, that's where they find God, and that's where they find the husband. Most of them have husband, but the husband have the other wives. So you go to church to find your husband. So
No, no, yeah, that is so funny. I
Wait,
never thought
explain.
about that. Yeah, can you elaborate
Explain.
on that?
Like second husband or new husband?
Or Jesus Christ becomes the husband now.
okay, Abel Tungjang.
Okay.
So I do believe kadang most of the time women and where women make the U-turn mostly in their life. I'm not saying all the women. It starts when thing number two.
Mhm.
And then now at home you're not getting the attention from the husband because you have a new Mercedes that buy into your old cargo. So it almost nobody is giving you attention and you are dealing with heartbreak. By the way, they say a culture polygamy it's okay, but I feel like the first woman or women that were already in their marriage, they do go through heartbreak and they have no one to turn to at the end of the day because it's normalized by the community that a cultural thing, so they tend to neglect our feelings,
Ah,
and by that they find each other refuge or a safe space in Jesus Christ, and they
amen.
go to church, little along, bral along, and that's how it starts for most of the women. That's what I mean. Ian ke husband do because Ian ke iran yiting ke beeping ke Ian ranin ke kulalwe unpack from kakunwani and all that, and just even me, for example, too, where when I had my baby, and of course, not everyone knew I had hid the baby from everyone, and because I did not have so many people knowing it, and so many people that I can talk to with the emotions that goes on with the pregnancy and all these, I found refuge in Jesus Christ. I would go to church twice
Amen.
on Sunday and then listen to gospel. So I feel like it's where you go and just be connected when you have no one.
I'm actually thinking of a song. So, ba ba ben guani yo yin ba guani yo. Oh man, like what do you think about that here thing? Actually, I never thought about it from that perspective. I was just focusing on from resource perspective of the time commitment, the money, and the opportunity cost. But really, actually, I took it to the next level. What are your thoughts?
No, it absolutely makes sense. That it's where people find peace. You know, Pegano and Kenmikala Yenya is like Acheo said. And an example of that I would give from my own mother. She lost her husband at a very young age, and I don't think she got that support that she's supposed to get from the rest of the family. And she got really devoted to church, and at some point I questioned if she is my mother because she seemed to pay more attention to church than to her own family. But yeah, I completely agree that it offers some sort of comfort that you will not find in a community. Yeah, then when you confide in people, you run the risk of they turn back and use your weakness against you, or get betrayed. On the other hand, I don't think Ichikaruto will go spread personal challenges as rumors Libica use against you. So yeah, definitely.
Oh, nice. Actually, yeah, thank you both. And I'm beginning to actually realize, why it's a big thing in our community. There are so many challenges that people go through, and really, and even not just in our community, why it's even a big deal in the world, because I think the opportunity cost of not having it is huge. Like, people lose hope, people become desperate, and if there's no hope, there is no progress. And definitely, I agree with you. And as a youth, or Sunday when I was growing up, I was very devoted in church. I even became Jolie. We dance every time, and really, it really even helped me, some virtues and values that I get from that discipline of waking up at 6 a.m. to go volunteer code, and just and most of who student in my early years that I knew, those who were really involved youth that were involved in church end up being welcome in a school. So I saw there was a lot of potential between those boys and girls who were loitering around going to Hong Kong and those who were going to church. Those who were going to church were more progressing. Of course, those who were going to Hong Kong also had other life skills that those who were going to church didn't have. So I wouldn't say that they fail in that regard, but they succeed in different ways. So really, it now I'm kind of sort agreeing with you both about that. It depends with how you use it, how you balance it, and just want to take it back to that discourse of people turning to Jesus and to church, and the fact that right now, in our community, church is becoming a political avenue where there's a lot of fights and conflict in churches. I know it's a big deal, especially in the Jonglei area. I don't know. Is it really a place of solace anymore? I just want to go back to your lucky point of spirituality. Do you really need church um, to feel comforted? Can you feel comforted in your own way? And if church, is now becoming a breeding ground for hatred and community conflict, is it still safe? Like,
I'll come back to what I said at the beginning, that there is personal relationship with the church and there's the relationship between the community and the church. So politics comes in when the community, like the community within the church and outside of the church, are in conflict, right? So say somebody's going there to seek, peace and Panu and knowledge. I don't think they see that as a huge problem. As long as church operate every day on Sunday, they will still show up, knowledge in that way. Now people who are there to exercise leadership, and if that leadership is challenged, they quickly forget that kine kanisa, and you cannot fight and support like what is happening. Of course, a book will affect negatively, but as long as churches are open on Sunday, it's not going to be too much of a problem that it that bukai pain bukai chela kanisa. So since on their politics, there used to be politics that doesn't involve the government, like the chief, um, the family leaders, all that. I think it's not as strong anymore, and the church leadership is more powerful. So I think Koining tendency to want to be leaders would go there, and of course conflict of Gani and in general Kanisa Chena Avenue for all those drama and community politics. I cannot think of a solution, but yeah, I think I'm quite a wrong motive in church that will bring problems.
yeah, what are your thoughts here? You said working in your non family team, you tend to church for solace. And I know even here in Canada, when I was very active in church in BC, and then conflict happened back home, we started avoiding some churches because of the political conflict become Kanisa conflict. So what are your thoughts about those things?
Oh, I could be wrong, but this is how I think. You know, before when church was not beneficial financially or materially, they used to know political conflict or leadership conflict. You remember when they and most because it was, yeah, nobody was fighting for church leadership because they, at that point, I think there was no more benefit to fighting for that position. But now I believe there is Nonkati Lotuituye Youth, and it comes with the name too. And I think that's where people begin to, fight for the leadership or to try to scramble for those few positions that were there. So again, it doesn't take away that church where you find peace, and it's where you connect with your God and spiritually and stuff like that. What the problem is the people, it's not the church. It's how the people want to turn church into. And I believe this one can be solved. People just need to sit down and share the power in a way that would favor everyone, or in a fair way that would make people progress forward. But I still stand that church is a place where you find peace. Where I have the problem though is how can we make church beneficial to women too? Because when you see these leadership struggles or leadership tirikeka, women are not in the picture. And above there, the people that I'm sure the people who are mostly benefiting from church materially are men. But women are just there to provide their services, provide their time and all this. So how can we make sure that women are included in these benefits that could be, that men are getting? That's where my problem is, because church is good, and if you are giving your time, I believe you should be compensated for that too. Women are not being compensated. We need them to be compensated. So what can we do? That's where my problem lies.
Wow, that question is really a deep one. I thought about it, and I'm just thinking about it from perspective of, if you look at bishops, the South Sudanese, most of them are men. I don't know of a woman bishop recently. No bishop, bishop. I don't know. And the top leaders like Rulodin, and all those who are mostly men, they are top out of it. But really, when you look at also the benefit from the conflicts, they are actually benefiting. So, you raise a very important question. So, is it empowering for women to just only go there to get only like comforted and provide the resources, but also not benefiting from political empowerment? Like, I haven't seen women going live and talking about this giant conflict and addressing, being part of the resolution. Right? They are actually a part of it. I have seen youth, especially men, not ladies, participating in this conflict. Like, I remember when the child was close in Jonglei, South Town, there were young men who went there to exercise their power and show that they stand with their community. But girls are not even there. But they're actively church goers, they're actively church contributors. They do a lot of things. So, really, empowerment is, to me, and as you raise it, it's skewed from that sense in here. So, thank you for that. And I don't know, like, let's talk about, brainstorm some of the solution. Like, what is the youth hand that women and girls can actually take from this conversation, if we were to help, turn the empowerment wheel from the side of women.
I think it will take a woman who is in a position of power in the church to turn things around and actually acknowledge the work that women are doing, all the contribution that is going unnoticed and uncompensated. However, we have to acknowledge the upbringing of most girls and women in our community. We're raised to be non-confrontational, to maintain peace. So if you look at churches, so almost like a family where women are told you maintain peace, you do pa and buriok. So, and let's say woman culture kujara kanisa puluing muchene diar miyoch wait, right? So immediately Bible rubayin and kulwela, the love of money is root of evil. But na keglo Actually, evil you could think so. There's a lot of consequences, a lot of risk to consider for to disrupt the status quo in Kanisa. Even so much as I know Kanga Ege child, and they always um, talk about the financial statement of child Kanisa and the way it is delivered. Well, can talk Akumayela Kanisa Jenga, a way that is open to feedback. I will okay, we can spend kitchen can spend kin. Nobody asked the question next year, how can we spend them differently? Or what should we consider doing run bebana? Achin that developmental side of Kanisa can we review and reflection and saying how can we make it better the Kanisa for everyone including women. So all I see is the challenge. Possibly if a church is like the financial resources of the church are earning different committee can we manage. For example, non-profits are in board of directors. So I can say a board of directors that understand how to use the money for the progress kanisa. And I'm sure kanisa Kawajata Itoya, they always have a board of director directing how the resources to be used, what side of development, what side of reward and appreciation being coach. Even it in when we go to church, there's always the tea after church. Kakuma chin tea after church is only for a buna. So being open to making church better for everybody would be a good start, including okay now chai after kanisa everybody should participate, even they should stay and have some tea before they go home. Because man, I remember in La Ben Kanisa Chichok, no, that by Sunday could really turn into a very bad day.
Wow, that is a big take.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, how about your chair? What you thought can change make to make women feel empowered more than what they do, especially like our Episcopal Church here abroad and also back home. So,
Oh, okay. Sorry, I got distracted a bit. I do believe it's women to stand for themselves because Najito Kingdom, in Kechula Court, nobody will know that you are hungry. I do believe women need to see church as not just them providing, but them also gaining from church because women always look at themselves as provider. They're just selflessly there for everyone. And that the same thing they apply to church. They feel like, okay, so long I go to church, I pray to my God, and I unpack all my burden to Him. That's it. But I do believe they also need to know that there are benefits that they can get from it, and as long as you are providing service, you should be compensated. They need to look at that length and lenses. I mean, and I do believe from there, that's where we can start from. It's them to demand what rightfully belong to them, and that I think Rabat, your time should not be just consumed for nothing. There have to be some way sort of compensation, either in terms of leadership or in terms of material or in terms of time too. Big chiki chia ke big word damandin gwala big ya bim bim ko chuk. Yeah.
no, yeah, I agree with both of you. And yeah, there are other jambo we can give away dinner, right? But and of course, I like it's based on like upbringing, like how you know, men yeah with these until we move at it. There is a way when you quite program to be doing that in a year when of course it will take women to uplift themselves, to stand up for themselves and to demand and it will take women leaders to be the champion as well. And I've seen Catholic doing different and doing better. In Catholic, they are paying kura academic, so it's not for free. But in our Episcopal church, we don't be paying kur. And why? And we want to contribute to the church. There's a church leadership from where to in Europe, and they call it right. and there's money coming to the church, and it's how it is being used is here not empowering. I've seen actually good ways that churches here in diaspora in our community are actually empowering young people. They are actually providing sponsorship, so that is another way. They can also like create like training, ground for these young folks. Like Catholic, they usually have occasional training for youth. They usually church, hospital, and what? There are usually three things: church, hospital, and school. And our Episcopal Church, they haven't been like investing in education for young people, for women, even big Makanaya, when they are coach for them to generate income that will even feed back to the church. So there are a lot of opportunities that our people can make money, can use the money that they are trying to church to benefit their community. Rather than when I remember when I was still very active in tech, I was when I think no, we when can it go jalo re, who came up one day. I don't know if it's still there here or read. I don't want that with me, but it was a good practice that is adored. So yeah, thanks, wonderful ladies, for discussion. This is just part one, and thank you audience for listening to this. We will come back and go deeper in if there are questions that we're not raising, but we just kind of like exploring. If the church is empowering to women and youth in particular, and what could be done, we welcome your ideas and feedback. So thank you, ladies.